Welcome to Stevie's Kitchen. Tonight, I'm gonna show you how to make Biscoff Blondies. Flour in. So for these Biscoff Blondies, I like to do brown butter instead of just regular butter. So I got 20 tablespoons of softened butter right here. We're gonna go into our hot pan. We're gonna let this go for about 5 or 6 minutes. You wanna keep constantly stirring a little bit till it gets nice and foamy. There's gonna be bits that are gonna separate and you wanna move those so they don't burn at the bottom. So you'll just take 20 tablespoons of butter into a hot pan and keep stirring. So now that we have this butter brown, it's starting to cool a little bit. So if you want to, you're gonna take it off this heat. We're just gonna transfer it to a separate bowl. Because from here, we're gonna add in our sugar, vanilla extract, mix everything together. But you do wanna let this cool slightly. You don't wanna put all your sugars in too hot of butter. So let it cool for about 20, 30 minutes and then you can add everything in. Now that we have the butter slightly cooled, I have 2 cups and 1/4 of brown sugar that we're gonna throw in here. So now I'm gonna add a tablespoon of vanilla extract. I'm just gonna get a quick little mix on this, incorporate all this together. So now that we have that mixed, I have a 1/2 cup of sourdough discard that I'm gonna put in. So now that we got the sourdough in, we're gonna mix it in as well. So now we're gonna add in 2 eggs. I pre-cracked them into the small little dish just to make sure no shells got in there. One last mix. And the last thing I'm gonna add is about a 1/4 cup of Biscoff butter. Just so we can get that flavor all throughout these. We're gonna save a little bit more for when we finish on the layers. Now let's get started on the dry ingredients. Okay, so we're gonna get our dry ingredients together. I have 3 cups of all-purpose flour right here. I am going to take a 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. And then I'm gonna take a teaspoon of salt. I just have a little fork here, just gonna give this a light mix, toss all this together. And then we'll get into some blondies. Flour in. You start seeing more of it form. All this flour starting to fold in. You can speed it up slightly just so you can get a good mix. So now I have about 20 Biscoff cookies that I took up and just crumbled by hand. Then I'm gonna toss in. And then I have 1 bag of white chocolate chips, 11 ounces. And instead of using the blender on this one, I have my spatula. I'm just gonna go in and just get a nice little mix on all this, incorporate it all together. Okay, I have a 9x13 casserole dish. I'm gonna take half this mixture and scoop it in. It's nice and thick. Here we go. So we go half in now. Just gonna press it out, work it into the corners. So now that we have half the mixture out, I'm gonna take about another 1/4 of Biscoff butter and just pour it in between this layer. Just kind of back and forth, no rhyme or rhythm, just a little bit. So we have some more of that cookie butter. Then we're gonna go on with the rest of this over top. Get all this spread out evenly throughout the pan. So as I'm scooping the last little bit out of this, get it over the top, we're gonna push all this in. We're gonna bake this at 325 for 40 to 45 minutes. Start checking it around by 40. You wanna be able to run your toothpick through and it come out cleanly. All right, into the oven, 40 minutes. We'll be back to try them out. So now that we got our Biscoff Blondies out the oven, they've cooled for about 20 minutes. And then I'd like to take the last little bit of that cookie butter that I have, probably another 1/4 a cup, and just drizzle it over top. Now it's time for the taste test. I'm gonna get my knife out. I'm gonna get me a little corner section. Yeah, this piece is calling me right here. Ooh, the cakiest of textures. This is still warm. So it's so gooey right now. It's so good. You would think it's a lot, but it's not. It is a very rich bite, but you don't feel bad after you finish having it. Yeah, this is the one. This is definitely the one.